We do something totally different in South Africa, though. We're doing more work at the intersection of HIV, violence against women, and economic self-sustainability. We currently manage a cooperative of 3 women's AIDS organizations that own a 700-acre dairy farm. So we milk cows for AIDS.
You know, I heard something scary when I was in a workshop with South American women in organizations. The World Cup is coming, and to think of legalizing prostitution during the World Cup.
Yeah, I hadn't read that they're decriminalizing it, but they're making preparation for about, you know, a few dozen, thousands of sex workers from around the world to show up in South Africa for the World Cup. But just if it helps you to know, I met someone yesterday who's going down to South Africa along with a whole bunch of other women students to work with FIFA and the South African footballers to do nationwide HIV prevention campaigning during the entire World Cup. So I think that's awesome. Yes, sir.
I'm interested bringing up the sex workers in South Africa, and I know your organization. What's your organization's stance on the sex workers and whether or not, because I've heard this perspective that decriminalizing prostitution will lead for better access to materials and things like that to prevent HIV and AIDS, or at least to mitigate its impact. And so I'm wondering what your organization's perspective would be on that.
Well, the organization itself hadn't taken a formal perspective on it, and that's mostly because there's no hope of, I'm in Georgia, there's pretty much no hope of ever getting the right supports and protections for sex workers that they deserve and need. So we haven't taken an organizational stance on that in that case. I'm a part of larger international networks and coalitions where we have. From my perspective, because the right to earn an income, the right to sexual expression, all of that are a part of the human rights framework, and that we should arrange our communities and our governments in such ways that protect the human rights of anyone, men, women, transgendered, to engage in the work that they choose to engage in at all the levels of risk. That does not discount, of course, the fact that we can certainly talk about the ongoing subjugation, the violence, the vulnerabilities, the absolute oppression that is experienced by sex workers, and that is absolutely unacceptable. But I don't subscribe to the notion that by decriminalizing, thereby protecting sex workers, is actually increasing the oppression of sex workers. I don't go with that same subscription. I don't know if that made sense though. I've been up since 3. So
You're talking about trafficking when you say oppression, you're talking about trafficking in women?
That's a different story. The last president got that all confused, not me. No, trafficking is a different story from commercial sex work or from sex transactions even. No, that's a whole different, slavery is slavery. I don't care what it looks like. Slavery is what it is.
We've had that from Clearwater, Florida. We have a task force.
Yes.
And they broke up a ring. It turned out the company my husband worked for, one of the traffickers actually worked for the company.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah. No, and Atlanta is traffic central for the U.S. I don't know if you all knew that. But Atlanta is one of the key distribution points for trafficking women and children. Yeah. We're also one of the distribution, Georgia as a state is the East Coast distributor for illegal gun sales. And what else do we traffic? We're you know, if it can be bad, we'll probably figure
Now,
it
out
out.
of curiosity, what is the reason that Atlanta is such a hub for human trafficking? What are the reasons for that? Is it just purely geography, or?
I wish I knew. I think it's probably a combination of strategic organizing, that we have, you know, the busiest airport in the world, that we are the gateway to the South, that we're also a port state, and that women's rights and children's rights and those types of things are not priority or not protected. So a lot of things happen in the state that our legislature probably wouldn't do a whole lot about. Unless it was about controlling women's bodies and women's ability to make choices, or girls' opportunities